Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Planet FPL Deadline stream for Game Week 23. And it's live. It's just under 1 hour until the Game Week 23 FPL Deadline. Let's get your questions in. Before you get questions in, may I first ask that you take a look at the screen first. There's a good chance the answer to your question is on the screen. My team, you will see, is in the top right-hand corner. I'm gambling a little bit with my selections. One free transfer made. Ben Mee in for Andrew Robertson. And yet Ben Mee is second on my bench. I've gone Sam Johnson in goal. He's not a particular dig at Spurs. I think that West Brom and Fulham will both get beat today. But if you ask me now which one is more likely to keep a freak clean sheet, I'm going to go for West Brom. And also owning no Spurs assets versus owning plenty of West Ham assets. That's the way I've decided to go. Diaz and Stones in for me. So too James Justin. It means Soufal and Ben Mee on the bench. Midfield of Salah, Bruno Fernandes, Thomas Soucek, Ilkay Gundogan. Up front, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Patrick Bamford, Mikel Antonio has got the captaincy nod. On captaincy, in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, you will see my top captaincy picks for the game week in order of preference. You will see that Heung-min Son is first on that list. Here's where I stand on it, and I'm going to sum it up now. So if anyone asks, just point them back to the first couple of minutes of the stream. If I owned Heung-min Son, I would captain him. And I would captain him on the simple basis of this. If Tottenham do well tomorrow and win the game, he will be involved. That's it, because we haven't got anybody else in the team that's capable of scoring goals. So he's got to be involved. That would be my thinking. West Brom obviously normally do concede a hatful of goals on average. I think they're at 2.5 goals per game or something since around about game week 10. So if Spurs do well tomorrow, and I'm not particularly anticipating it, then Son is highly likely to be involved and in the goals. So if I owned him, I would captain him. I've rolled a transfer. I have about 7 million in the bank. I could have bought him easily. No want to do it. So I'd go Son. I've gone Antonio myself personally, just as a slight preference over Bruno Fernandes. And then a few differential names that don't normally appear on the list. Patrick Bamford, Danny Ings, even Callum Wilson. I think all reasonable differential shouts for this particular game week. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see your clock at the top. That's been amended, so it should be running very close to accurate time. You'll see the schedule for the game week and my correct score predictions. And at the bottom, you'll see benching dilemmas. We've added 2 pages. There are now 5 pages of benching dilemmas. They run from left to right in order of preference from page 1 to page 5. So if someone's on page 1, they're preferred definitely over anyone that's on page 5. The green tick indicates that I would play that player over the person that is below. And also at the bottom of the screen, you'll see fixtures going across the grey ticker for the next 5 game weeks. Those fixtures that are shown in blue, which is done by our Starman FPL captain on the graphics, indicate a double game week. Right, let's get into the questions. I've got moderators in now, guys, after the fuck up from the last game week with repetitive questions. So if anybody's in asking a repetitive question, you're just going to get permanently muted from the stream. So if you've done that, you've been warned. Right, let's see. Who's in the house? Who's first? Edwin Guan. He's not first. Yes, nearly missed it. James Gillard. Salah and Robbo, both benched for me. No question, just wish me luck. Good luck, James. The Emerald Pilot. Morning, James. Considering a -4 hit to bring either Son for Grealish or Soucek and captain him, or one of the Shaw Justin for Mitchell. Roll transfer. Listen, can I be very honest with you? For everybody who's got one free transfer, the advice I'm going to give you is almost certainly roll a transfer. I don't believe that anybody out there has got a shit bench this week. We really shouldn't, with the way things have landed. So, genuinely, if you've got one free transfer, I can tell you almost certainly now that my advice will be roll a transfer, because the benefits of what we can learn next week are absolutely massive. Sandish Dakai says, "Hi James, good luck. Start DCL or Gundogan." Sandish, Have a look at the benching dilemmas on the screen, my friend. Joe Gifford, hi James, looking to buy a Pope this week to target Burnley's doubles and good fixtures, but would mean having a Martinez and Pope rotation until around game week 30. Is this too much money in goalkeeper position? So I spoke about this on my stream yesterday about, would like to buy Nick Pope. I bought Ben Mee because I can't particularly justify it. If you've got a different combination of someone like, in fact, let me just put it a different way. Roll the transfer. There's so much to learn in the next week, right? You might find out that Martinez suddenly is in a position where it's very unlikely that for some reason he doesn't have a double in 26. For some reason, I'd say it's almost a certainty. So you don't need the double for 26. Okay, the chances are you're going to have Martinez. You don't necessarily want to get rid of him. So I agree, you probably are looking at a goalkeeper who A, covers you for game week 29, and B, if you can get a doubler out of 24, 25, great. Alex Mccarthy could have doubles in 25 and 27 depending on the fixtures next week, as well as 26 as well. So if you're looking to bench boost as well, McCarthy's quite possibly going to be the better call. Generally, wait. You don't really want Pope and Martinez for that period, but then we've all got money going spare. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but suddenly when these premiums are back fit, like Jamie Vardy I anticipate to be on the bench for Leicester this week, Harry Kane we expect back next week, Kevin De Bruyne is nearing in on a return, suddenly we're going to start spending that money again. Honestly, I'd roll transfer. Rishi Patel said, which four to start? Chilwell, me, Diaz, Stones, Soufal. Would you start DCL or Souček over any of the defenders above two? Right, DCL is top of the list on my benching dilemmas, guys. You know my feelings on forwards. Although I'll be very honest and say now, if you think you've got a benching headache this week, wait till you get to next week. I am probably going to have to bench Patrick Bamford myself next week as it stands. And you guys know I don't bench forwards. Next week is the biggest shit show of all for benching dilemmas. The only one that you've mentioned who's not on my benching dilemma screen, Rishi, is Ruben Diaz, and just consider him the same as John Stones, but a little bit better. Wasting Fortune, Diaz, Gundogan or DCL? Yep, same answer. Benching dilemmas, guys. Rishi Patel says start McCarthy or Martinez. Well, I'm going to guess that they're both on my benching dilemmas screen. I can't actually remember if they are. They must be. Yeah, they are. Yep. Benching dilemmas, guys. Samuel Leach, hi James. Would appreciate your thoughts on Mason Mount as a 2-week punt. Thinking of downgrading Salah to free up cash for Kane or KDB when they become fit. Samuel, roll the transfer, my friend. It is a decent punt for 2 game weeks potentially, but the fire that you can do with the transfers to getting double game week players ahead of double game weeks is far more important than a punt on someone who doesn't score nearly enough goals for Chelsea as he should. Chris Bradley says, morning James. Good luck this game week, everyone. Thanks, Chris. Fraser Walker, hi James, do you think set and forget for your captain choice for a whole season predicted 200 plus pointer a good idea? On a bad run of captain picks, thanks pal. No I don't. You should pick the best captain based on week to week decisions. Simon, hi James, bench 2 of Reece James, Soufal, Dallas, Harvey Barnes. Simon, they're all on the benching dilemmas except for Reece James, consider him the same as Ben Chilwell. Ritwick Vias, Mane and Watkins out for Son and Antonio for a -4. Nope, I wouldn't be getting rid of an Aston Villa player at the moment, so can't be advising that, my friend. FPL Warrior, morning James, strategy question. Still have wildcard and bench boost left. Thinking wildcard 25, bench boost 26. Got 1 FT this week, but no Burnley cover. Would you get a Burnley defender Pope in now or roll? Would still roll unless you desperately need that Burnley player this week. I mean, I've used one of my 2 FTs this week to get Ben Mee in, and he's sitting second on my bench. It's forward planning. So if you've only got the one, I'd be rolling, mate. Quite honestly, there's going to be very many repetitive answers here. Tom Dart, which 3 do I play out of Stones, Cancelo, Soufal and Dean? Tom, they're all on the benching dilemma screen. This is good, this, isn't it? If you've got a benching dilemma question, guys, and the answers are on your screen, there are now 5 pages worth of options. There are over 20 players there on those benching dilemmas. Just have a go back and delete your question, please, guys. I'll still give you a shout out if that's what you want. Jake Jackman, bench 1 of Bamford, Watkins, Souček, Salah, Grealish. Well, off that logic, it's going to have to be Souček, isn't it? TJ Dara, hi James. I know what you'll say, but do I bench Salah or DCL? Hope you don't think I'm stupid for asking. Good luck, everyone. No, it's kind of cut and dry, but it's kind of not. Look, I would not be benching Mohamed Salah for any game week, really. He's the top goal scorer in the league. So if you're in that strong of a position, congratulations. You probably are benching DCL. Zaris says, should I bench Gundo or Watkins? That'd be a Gundo for me, mate. Matt J, I need a back three out of Stones, Diaz, James and me. Thinking of ditching one of the Man City lads. Again, Matt, benching dilemmas. That FPL Lounge, good morning, happy people. Hope all is well. FPL Captain, morning, James. Good luck for this game week. Thank you, Chris, for your work on the graphics as per usual. Ritwick says, Dean, DCL, Gundogan, one to play. Look, benching dilemmas. This is good, guys. Alexander Barker, I'm heavy on City and Sky Fantasy Football. Got 23 transfers left. Is it worth jumping off? Not this week, mate. Fucking overhaul after Leeds Palace Monday. Optimus Prime, hey boss, your opinion about Bamford captain this game week and in double game week 25. This week, reasonable. I've got him fourth on my captaincy list, actually. Palace without Zaha, I mean, it's very well documented, right? Shit! Game week 25. Who do we think is the best option? It's a high chance he'll be my captain. That's fair to say, actually. Let's just have a quick look for you. Game week 25. Wolves away, Southampton at home. Bruno's got Newcastle at home. That's going to be the main competition. So it's probably either Bruno versus Newcastle or a Leeds or Southampton player. Southampton's doubles Chelsea at home, Leeds away. So you probably would slightly prefer Leeds, but then Wolves are always kind of stingy defensively and never concede too many, do they? But yeah, good chance it'll be Patrick Bamford for me. Very good chance. I bet when it comes around, a lot of people captain Rafinha. Oisin Fortune, Diaz, Gundogan or DCL. Benching dilemma screen. William Jones, hi James, hope you're okay, mate. Which two would you play out of Dyer, Justin and Soufal? So I haven't put any of the Spurs players on the benching dilemma defensively. I think in all seriousness, like, if you have a Spurs defender, you probably are going to play them this week. That was my thinking towards that. So for me, it would be bench Soufal. To explain my decision to play the two Man City players and Justin over Soufal and me, if you look at the correct score predictions on the schedule, I've actually predicted all four of those defences to concede once this week. And I think I can make differential gains over these double game week periods. This is a game week where I'm happy to just go with the crowd and I don't really want to lose ground because a highly owned player scores points. And that is why I've gone with Diaz, Stones over Justin. It's as much on the trust on those two as they are better defensively than the other two teams, in my opinion. But it's also down to the ownership is what's kind of swung it for me. So I think that's very, very close call. And that goes for a lot of these benching dilemmas. So look, if you're in a bad rank and you think, oh, I need to make up ground, I need to go with the differentials here, by all means, pick Ben Mee over Ruben Diaz. Another Hoops. Morning, mate. Bit early, but I'm playing the drinking game. How many times you say look left to right below? Not quite yet. It's all just look at the benching dilemma screen, isn't it? Matthew Ian M. Most. Good luck this game week. My question is who to bench. You've got Dawson in there. Think of Dawson the same as Soufal. I'm playing 3-4-3. Help. Matthew, if you have a look at the benching dilemmas graphic that's below my kind of shoulders, you'll find your answers, mate. Jassim Jazz. Hi, James. Is there any chance that Antonio minutes will be reduced because of that upcoming FA Cup midweek? Yeah, it's possible. I asked Suj flat out yesterday if he thought there was any chance Antonio would be left out, and he said no. He thought it was probably more likely that he might even be used as a substitute at Manchester United in the Cup. Notorious Nerd. Rafinha unlucky to miss out on your list. And the captaincy. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. He'd certainly be in the top 20. I think maybe, yeah. Jack, come on, you know better, my friend. Benching dilemmas. Both those players are on that list. Alex Piri. Morning, mate. Hope you're well. Thoughts on Barnes to Rafinha for a -4. Want Raf otherwise of this game week, but not sure on whether Raf can explode against Palace. Well, for -4, no, I don't think so. I think it's a close call between which one you'd start. I don't think it's a -4, mate. Eric Solly, Pope or me? What are you saying? Start, buy. Look, the ideal solution is to buy Pope. Nick Pope would outscore Ben Mee, I would have thought, over the next 4 or 5 game weeks. Ben Mee would need goals or at least a goal, and a good 14 or 15 pointer to outscore Nick Pope over that period. So Pope is the better choice to buy. It's just for me the consciousness of, on paper right now, I want to buy Nick Pope as a goalkeeper. I could have bought Nick Pope this week. I'd have a better goalkeeper, no doubt about it. Sitting there ready, waiting, and yet I bought Ben Mee and left him on the bench. It's forward thinking, because in 7 days' time, there's a strong chance I'm going to want to buy a different goalkeeper rather than Nick Pope. And that could well be Alex Mccarthy, for example. And that's why I think it's better waiting. Optimus Prime says, what gonna do if KDB be ready at game week 24 or 26? You gonna bring him in your team? Well, the thing is, Optimus, currently as it stands, I've got enough money in the bank to go straight from Gundogan to KDB should I want to. It's not in my thoughts at the moment. Jassim Jazz, hi James, start 2, bench 2. They're all on the bench in dilemmas, mate. Rob B, hi James, fan team is showing Chilwell is injured, suspended. Have you got any news about him? Nope. Does he play tomorrow? Possibly. I don't really know. They've been so untested defensively, it's really difficult to know. I guess it's probably likely that Alonso plays again. But if I had Ben Chilwell, as you'll see from the bench in dilemma screen, he's right near the top. I would start him, personally. Think of it this way. Stick him in your team. And if he is injured, then he comes out. I'm not aware of anything, personally. Not that I've particularly been looking at the news this morning, if there is some news. Downstairs says, morning legend, saving my FT based on your wise words yesterday. Good man. Why Son over Fernandes for captain, and why Watkins ahead of Souček, and why both ahead of Gundogan, and why Dallas over Justin? Sorry, pal. No, it's okay. You're asking for reasoning for my decision, so I don't mind that at all. So Son, I explained it in the first 2 minutes, which I'm going to guess your question was in early, Dan, so you probably heard that. Watkins ahead of Souček. I mean, I think Villa Arsenal could be quite high scoring today. And as I said on the last stream, Ollie Watkins in one game soon is going to go off. I'm absolutely certain of that. He's having too many chances in games. Why both ahead of Gundogan? Well, I'd fancy Souček to score more against Fulham than I do Gundogan against Liverpool, just generally. The thing with City is, right, I predict them to win 3-1 tomorrow. Anyone could get them goals. Anyone in that team. Whereas Souček obviously has an importance in terms of the role he's playing for West Ham currently. And Dallas over Justin is quite honestly simple on this week. I think Leeds will keep a clean sheet on Monday with Palace missing Zaha. It's very rare I'm going to tip Leeds for a clean sheet, so I have done this week, so that's the reason why. Pup says, hi James, do you have any plans if when to use your triple captain? Good luck. No, not tied in. There is a sequence of results that, and this is a perfect illustration of why to roll a transfer for someone like me with no Tottenham coverage. We look awful at the moment. We've got a tough couple of fixtures after this game week. Man City away, West Ham away. There is a sequence of cup results, which is very complicated to explain, that could lead to Tottenham having a double game week in 26 of Burnley at home and Fulham away. Now, I think if I get to that position, it's going on Harry Kane. That's where I'd be at. The chances of getting to that double game week, in my opinion, probably about 20 or 25%. So I'm very open-minded at the moment. Switchbone, thoughts on benching Salah? Ideally, I wouldn't do it, but then I did consider it, and the reason I considered it is because I picked 3 Man City players, including 2 defensive, so I normally like to go the all-in strategy, but I think when you've got a player like Salah, just to know that if Liverpool do well tomorrow, I mean, he's scored plenty of times against City in the past. I don't think I'm going to leave that out, personally. Dave Perrins, thank you very much, my man. Optimus Prime, what is happened is KDB and Kane, they are ready at game week 26. No money only. If I sell Salah, you going to sell Salah for KDB? I might do, but then Liverpool's double, if it happens, and it's likely to happen, is Sheffield United away and Chelsea at home. So, yeah, again, I can't give you these answers till I know where we stand next week. And particularly on Liverpool, because Chelsea's the last game Thursday, I can't tell you till about 10:30 on Thursday night. Alan McNamara, rumours of Antonio being benched on Twitter. Alan, this shit starts on Twitter every week, mate. I'm not particularly interested, mate. Lamichi says, hi James, start TAA or Diaz. I've got Robertson on my benching dilemma ahead of Diaz. I would think of TAA the same. For me, I would not bench those two guys. In spite of the fact of them not being worth the money at the moment, I would not want to bench Robertson or TAA. Saw loads of people benching TAA when Liverpool played Tottenham. That went well. Cesar Mayo, are Game Week 24 and Game Week 25 confirmed? Good question, might sound simplistic. Yes, they are, but as I explained on our Patreon podcast yesterday, I still think there's a possibility that Aston Villa and Everton could go into Game Week 25. I find it very unlikely because I would think that they would have made that announcement already. But again, there's a combination of results in the Cup whereby they may want to say Everton and West Brom be in Game Week 26. They may want Tottenham to play Southampton or Fulham. And in that case, it does open up the idea that we could still have Villa and Everton brought forward into 25. I don't know why they put Leeds Southampton in there and not put Villa and Everton in there. It makes me think also that the intention for Aston Villa and Everton is to go into 26, the way they've kind of mapping out the process in terms of what they think they're going to do, which also makes me lean more into the idea of that possible Harry Kane triple captaincy in Game Week 26, because obviously Villa play Everton, Tottenham won't play Villa. Increases the possibility of Tottenham possibly playing Fulham, but I still think it's more likely to be Southampton because Man City will play Wolves in 26 in my opinion, and then likely Man City play Southampton in 27. See how confusing this is, but it's in there. Planting seeds, morning Jimbo Chilwell, time to go for a -4 best replacement. Nah, leave that shit alone, mate. Just leave that shit alone for the moment, because it's all well and good to say, yeah, get rid of him for -4. You may think he's not going to play. But who you buy, honestly, next week, you could make a far more informed decision. And they've got Sheffield United away tomorrow, and there's no guarantee that he doesn't play. I would not be doing that. Finley Farah says, put in Dean and Eze in for Foden and Lamptey. Well, I presume that you're going to go down to 2 Manchester City players ahead of a double game week next week, Finley. So I wouldn't be selling Foden. Lamptey, yeah, you should be moving off of. But again, have you got more information next week, for example? It might even be that in your case that if Brighton were to beat Leicester in the Cup in midweek, that Brighton would have an outstanding double in Game Week 26 of West Brom and Newcastle. And Lamptey could be back fit by then, and what a great differential he could be for you. Dean's playing United this week. I don't think Palace will score. The answer is no, Finley. Charlie Malone, how to deal with bad FPL decisions. Don't take the game so seriously. Don't take life so seriously. Like it's just so many much more important things. This is a game at the end of the day. And if you're spending money gambling with mates or in mini leagues or whatever and you're not enjoying the game, then give it up. Simple as that. This season is incredibly erratic. We know that, right? It's more away wins than home wins, etc. Remember all them weeks we used to look at the past and go, I'm going to pick this player because he's got home fixture. We wouldn't fucking bother with that now. The home and away is almost irrelevant. It almost doesn't matter. So this season's tough, right? It's really, really tough. I saw a brilliant thread by Luke at FFScout_Luke, which is worth looking at on Twitter. So a very, very short thread. He came on our Sky podcast on Wednesday. He was outstanding, by the way. For the Sky listeners who haven't heard that, get on that from Wednesday. He put a short thread out yesterday about players since, I think, around about game week 9 who had more than 30% captaincy in the top 10k in a game week. And the highest any player scored was 8 points. Go and check that thread out. Crazy. Riley O'Hagan, good morning, James. Thanks for the content. Good luck. Thank you, Riley. Block 5 FPL, morning, James. Do you think Antonio is on pens? That could be the difference between capping him or Bamford. Probably yes, but I'll repeat what we said on a podcast. I tell you what, it was Clash of the Correspondents when we had Mig and Chris on before West Ham played Crystal Palace. We heard a rumour, which was given to me by Sham from new FPL YouTube show, FPL Happy Hour. He said he'd heard a rumour that Declan Rice is on penalties. And he takes a few of the free kicks. He strikes the ball really well. I can actually visualise that. But West Ham haven't had a penalty this season, mate. So you really shouldn't be making your decision based on captaincy. Joe Finley Badder says, I got a spanner and I'm not afraid to use it. Good man. Thank you, Joe. Optimus Prime says, your prediction, Liverpool versus Man City. Also, we all forget that Salah gone play 5 games at 14 days. Optimus, my predictions for all the Premier League games on the left-hand side of the screen, mate. Olavi, hi James, would you go Johnson to Pope or Ferguson to me? Already have Martinez. Well, Ferguson's not going to do you any good, is he? So Ferguson to me. Have you had like Nathan Ferguson since like game week 1, mate? How have you done that? We've gone past game week 19. That's an incredible feat. Nicky Kassam got 2 frees. Lamptey too uncertain to gamble on and bench until the double game week, hoping he's fit. Lowton is boring. He might be the right choice though, Nicky. I'm afraid I can't. If you've got the 2 frees, of course you want to use one. Yeah, to be honest, if you can't afford to get up to one of the better guys, then yeah, Matt Lowton, I think, mate. Just on the subject of Brighton, there was a lot looking at them before the double game weeks announced. Looks like Solly March has been ruled out for the season. Now, I'm not advising this as a buy, but should that double game week happen in game week 26 for Brighton, it could well come back round very interestingly for Dan Burn. Currently 4.2. I anticipate it's going to get a run in the side at left wing back now. Douglas Maxwell, 2 FTs, good replacement for Mane. Have Salah, Bruno, Gund, Souček as mids. Well, Son's the obvious, particularly if you want to obviously stick the armband on him this week. You'll end up benching him next week, Douglas. I can tell you that now. By the way, nearly everybody who's got Heung-min Son's going to leave him on the bench next week. This is going to be absolutely hilarious to see. I would be very tempted with that, Douglas, to buy Rafinha. Yeah, honestly, and just leave the money in the bank. Oh, about 7.5 million in the bank or something at the moment. And I don't see me using it till game week 26 at the moment. Sage says play Lowton, Dallas or Diaz. Already have Cancelo. I've gone double Man City, so I don't overly think that should affect your decision making. I would. What did I go for on the benching? I would go Diaz over Dallas, just because of the capability of Man City. I don't like leaving out the defensive guys from Liverpool City, so that's why, for example, Stones is rated higher on the benching dilemma than Dallas, even though I predicted Leeds for a clean sheet. And look, there's every chance that prediction's wrong, isn't it? Leeds conceded 4 the last time they played Crystal Palace, although Wilfried Zaha was part of that team. I think Diaz. Patrick Lawson, sorry if someone's already asked this, but how likely do you think it is that Kane will play? In terms of starting the game, 15 or 20%, I would say. Involvement in the game in some capacity, 50 to 60% possibly. I think there's a good chance he's on the bench tomorrow, by the sounds of it. Chris Bradley is giving Matthew a nice message. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, we've got moderators in here, guys. Oh, look, message is getting deleted. Love it. Sagnick, buy me for Robbo and bench 1 City defender. I have 2. Or bank the transfer wildcard in 25. Okay, look. If you want to order the Manchester City defenders, Cancelo, Diaz, Stones. Ottman says, your opinion about Ings for double game week 25, 26, 27 and good fixtures. Yep, I'm very much got in my mind at the moment. Dominic Calvert-Lewin to Danny Ings in game week 25. Unbelievable, Jeff. Morning, James. No question this morning. Just good luck this week. Come on, you Spurs. And, oh, yeah, rolling a transfer. Good man, Jeff. Demetrius, bench Sufal or no? I'm kidding. Have a nice game week, James. Oh, I'm benching him, mate. Garang says, is Fly Twitter account reliable saying that Antonio benched? I love Fly. Jerry Millen, who to play? TAA, Stone, Justin, thank you. Just treat TAA as Robertson, Jerry on the benching dilemma, but yeah, just play TAA, mate. Skoyenason, does the green marker in the benching dilemma mean bench or play the marked player? It means play, my friend. It means play. The green arrow on the benching dilemmas means that's my preference to play, and it runs through from page 1 to 5. We've even numbered it now, FPL Captain has pages 2 to 5, for example, page 3 to 5. So you can find a player on page 1, and if you find another player on page 4, you will find that I would play that player on page 1 over the player on page 4. Victor Sandberg, with all these benching dilemmas, is this how Pep feels every game? Quite possibly. Izat says, who should I take out for Antonio? Watkins, DCL or Bamford? You can't take him out, he's going to be benched. No. I'd leave it. I'd leave it. Ollie Watkins, you might want that back. Honestly. I think if you was going to sell one, it'd have to be Watkins. With DCL double next week, Bamford double the week after, would have to be Watkins. But I'd probably leave it. DMM19. Hi, James. Start Watkins or Souček. That would be Watkins, mate. Eric Solly, Diaz, Sterling and Gundogan on bench. Which one of them should get a spot in the team? Sterling, although he's never scored at Anfield, but then he's never played at Anfield when there ain't been a crowd. Immortal Technique. We'll skip that one. Ian Quinn, would you bench boost with McCarthy and Free City? No free hits that would make navigating easier. Nah. Listen, you've got a double coming up for McCarthy in 25. There's a good chance your game week 25 is going to look better than this week, Ian. Have a second look of that. FPL telling Josh, good luck for the game week, James. Fingers crossed Antonio matches his performances against Norwich last season. Yeah, but Suj hasn't said he's tired. Alfredo says, why the hell FPL guys do unexpected price rises overnight? They did it with KDB before and last night with Sanchez, Aspi, me. Fuck FPL. Sky FF is the best and enjoyable. Your thoughts? The price prediction sites do their best to predict what's going to happen. Sometimes to get it wrong. It's not stress over price changes. Are we all struggling for money in the bank at the moment? Anthony Hobbs, Ings for Werner as to transfer free. Yeah, I don't mind that, Anthony. Yeah, I don't mind that. Ings for Werner. I mean, it's not ideal to sell Werner with Sheffield United tomorrow. Don't get me wrong. But if you say to me Danny Ings over the next 5 or 6, I mean, even off the back of 26, 27, they could have Manchester City as part of a double. You know, the other fixture is Sheffield United. Then it's Brighton in 28 as well. Decent run for Danny Ings. Yeah, he's coming in for me soon. I'll be surprised if when I get round to game week 25, I haven't got Danny Ings. NJ, thoughts on captaining Bamford, James? My thoughts are on the screen, mate. Right hand corner towards the bottom. Jeffrey Jabakma, hey James, for someone planning wildcard 25, what do you reckon about Salah to Rashford -4? No, not big. It could pay back with obviously Man United having West Brom next week and Salah having Leicester. But then is there a chance that Rashford's even given a break because it's West Brom next week? It's not for me, mate. Ayman Mosso, bench 1. Luke Shaw is not on my benching dilemma screen because I worked on the assumption that most people would want to play him this week. Well, Aaron Wan-Bissaka's on my list, isn't he? I'm going to wait for it to spin round. I'm pretty sure I would go... Oh no, I must have removed Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I would play Luke Shaw, and I would definitely play DCL, personally. Oh, Wan-Bissaka is on the list. I've put him ahead of Dallas. That's therefore behind... that's over Dallas, so I'd treat it the same. Wan-Bissaka over Dallas, Shaw over Dallas, so I benched Dallas very reluctantly. Damien Rosowski, Mane and Havertz to... Oh, that's not good, James. Don't press that button. Mane and Havertz to Pepe and Minamino versus Newcastle defence. Christ almighty, buying Nicolas Pepe. I mean, it's a good chance Nicolas Pepe doesn't start for Arsenal today. That has to be in doubt with Aubameyang obviously available to come back in the team. Ain't going to drop Saka. Minamino versus Newcastle defence. Do you expect him to go straight in the team? I don't. No. Get rid of Kai Havertz though. Notorious Nerd, any chance there are more doubles 24-25? Yeah, explained the possibility of Villa Everton 25. Although I do think it's unlikely. Another good reason to roll a transfer though. Daniel Robert, I think Salah is an easy bench. City aren't conceding. Says Amal, yeah, Capsy this week is hard for me. Bruno, Son or Bamford question. What do you guys think? You can ask the guys in the chat, but by the time they get a word into response, you're probably about 10 questions down, mate. Actually, probably about 200. My thoughts are on the screen. Daniel Robert, DCL will score a brace against United. Sid Hartan says, Gundogan in midfield or Cancelo in defence. I can only take one. That's a really tough one. I think I'd play Cancelo, possibly. Really close call. I think I'd play Cancelo. Adam Tessiman, morning. Would you consider a double up on Lookman and Mitrovic forward thinking? No. Fulham have bought a new forward. Do you know what his name is, Adam? It's fucking escaped my memory at the moment. It's easy to forget, isn't it? No, I wouldn't go near that, mate. Matt Baggs, hi James. Thoughts on Son versus Souček for the bench? Playing Grealish, Salah, Bruno, 3 forwards, Bamford, Antonio, captain Watson. Thanks, mate, and good luck. I mean, starting Sam Johnston is one thing. Not buying Heung-min Son's another thing. Leaving him on the bench at home to West Bromwich Albion is definitely another. You can't leave him on the bench, in my opinion. I think at that point you'd have to second question and think, why is he in my team then? You're going to bench him at home to West Brom? Nah. J Lodge, Grealish for Zaha and bench DCL or bank the FT. Play DCL and bank the FT, mate. Roseanne Fleur, Mane to Dele Alli versus West Brom for this week, and then Dalier to James Rodriguez for double game week 24. Roseanne, my understanding is Dele Alli won't even be in the squad tomorrow, so no. 11, I am Ross Kenny. Can't see McCarthy versus Martinez on benching dilemmas, so how about an answer? Oh, I can give you one, yeah. Let's see. I'm waiting for page 5 to come round. Did I not put Martinez on there? Oh, that's fair enough. McCarthy versus Martinez. A close call because I think they'll both concede twice this week. But I probably would go McCarthy. There's always a good chance of Newcastle blanking, isn't there? So I will go McCarthy, mate. Steve C. Hi, James. How many double game week players do you think is needed for game week 25 to not lose ranking? Difficult to say because it depends how those players perform. I've got 7 and I'm not intending to add any more. But I've got, Lookman, Areola. I haven't got the best ones. Pope would be a better choice than Areola, but I'm not moving that, for example. Lookman could easily be substitute twice for Fulham, for example. DCL's got 1 game against Man City. He's not fucking brilliant, is it? See, it's how they perform. So, look, you want 3 Manchester City players, and if you can add others, you're going to want something, I think, defensive Burnley to cover you. The rest is probably not that important, to be very honest with you. Probably not that important at all. Francesco Fallopi says, hi James, do you think Alonso will start? Probably. Javier Alcantara, Dyer Davis, mate, how many goals will they concede today? None. I'm going for 1 tomorrow. Jeffrey Jabakma, 2 weak midfield punts for upside chasing. James Ward-Prowse as a suggestion, but then it's not 2 weeks. You need that to be 3 weeks. James Rodriguez, possibly, but it doesn't feel right with Manchester United away. I just say that because I've got a double in the next one. Jesse Lingard, to be honest, next 2 weeks you want to chase Fulham and Sheffield United. Good luck. That's all I'm going to say. Siddharth saying Gundogan in midfield, Cancelo in defence can only take 1. I feel like I've already asked that one, and be warned, mate, you may not be in this chat again. Oh dear. Keegan Carty, Salah for Son. What, buy Salah for Son? Come on, let's ask the question, please, Keegan. Jerry Covers, hi James, I'm on almost the same team as you. Got Lowton and Son instead of me and Lookman. I'm thinking of benching all 3 City players this week. What's your reason for playing them all 3? So I have covered Joey. It's actually they're the best defensive team in the league. Forget the opposition. They're the best defensive team in the country. B, for me this week, I don't want to lose ground because I think in the forthcoming weeks I will make ground. So for me, it's a bit of, okay, do you know what? I could probably take a very small red arrow this week. So I'm going with the ownership. That's the reason for me. If you're in a different position to that thought process, by all means, go a different way. It's a close call. Of course it is. City are playing Liverpool. Olavi says, hi James, would you play Foden over DCL? I would not. Albus89, drop De Gea or for Pope or one of Dyer Stones for Ben Mee. I also have Cancelo, Soufal, Shaw. Yeah, you've got a great headache this week. So De Gea and Pope, I'm predicting clean sheets for De Gea, not for Pope, as you can see. So I think on that basis, Albus, because there's a lot going on in that question, my predictions on the left-hand side of the screen are probably going to help make your decisions. I'm not sure if I would go De Gea and Shaw, though. James Nelson, back 5 is Ben Chilwell, Stones, Diaz, Cresswell, Dallas. Have 2 FT, want to bring in Ben, me. Who do I go for? Really enjoying the pods. Have a great game week. Well, I think the position of where you're at the moment, you're forced probably to sell Ben Chilwell, unfortunately. Keegan Carty, will Arsenal score against Villa? Well, my predictions are all on the left-hand side of the screen, Keegan. As I always advise people, try and have a look at the screen before you ask the question, because the answer might be there. And TJ, hi James, hope you're well. Do you think it's a good idea to captain Son and play Johnson as a hedge? My other goalkeeper is Martinez. Thanks, James. No, I think in that position, I'd just play Martinez, probably. If I had Martinez, I think I'd probably pick him over Johnson, to be honest. You got to factor in the ownership with Martinez as well. So you're hedging your bets, yeah, but what if Villa get a clean sheet? That hasn't really hedged a lot. Shifo, hi James, I'm benching Calvert-Lewin, Diaz and Stones. Will I regret it? I can't tell you that, mate. I can't tell you that. But judging by my predictions for the game week, probably not. Nur Jahan, why not captain Fernandes? Got 17 points in the reverse fixture. That's so true. And Antonio didn't score against Fulham in the reverse fixture. And Son didn't score against West Brom in the reverse fixture. In fact, Heung-min Son has never scored against West Bromwich Albion. Please note, he hasn't played him for about 3 years, other than the away game this season. Because the same thing always happens over and over. I joked about this on our differential Patreon podcast yesterday when I said I'm probably leaning Antonio. And Such said, why is that? And I said, because Jordan Pickford's injured. As he said, who do you think is the best Burnley outfield punt to get in prior to the next week's double? Who do you think will return well over the next 2 game weeks? Look, I think the best call is probably James Tarkowski. But it's so close between Tarkowski and me, I just don't really think it's worth paying the extra, personally. Zaris says, good morning, James. Should I bench Justin or Robbo, or should I sell Robbo for me and play him? You are my favourite, not one of my favourites. Greetings from Greece. Hello, Zaris. Love you, mate. If you've only got 1 free transfer, I would roll it, mate. If not, I would probably get me for Robertson and then play Justin. That would make me feel better about life. Jordan Harrison, hi James, thanks for the content. What's your plan in Sky this weekend? No transfers. I've got 9 players. Leno obviously suspended. Thiago Silva now injured. I will be almost definitely Fernandes captain in Sky. For the FPL listeners, it's a different game when you score points differently. Please note that. I will probably go Fernandes. I haven't 100% decided yet, but I think I'm going to go Fernandes in Sky. Tomorrow I'm going to go Son. Monday will be Bamford. Haridi Mujmdar. Sorry if I've butchered that, my friend. Hey James, can you please recommend Zaha replacements? Rafinha. Good shout, mate. Sam Fayad, why is Sufel out and DCL in? I'd just like to go with a forward, mate. Keegan Kite is asking, will Burnley concede? Yeah, same answer you got for your last question, mate. Owen Boyd, hi mate, should I go Zaha to Rafinha for -4? Yeah, I like that one. Because even if you don't get it back immediately, you're likely to in coming weeks. Just note, he's the sort of player that's going to end up on a lot of benches next week, Rafinha. Bear that in mind. But then you've got the game week 25 double if you're not wildcarding in 25. I think, yeah, I think Zaha's going to be out for quite a while. So, yeah, I like that one, Owen. Badman, just had a quid on your predictions. Go on the Planet FPL. Hope you haven't done the correct scores, mate, because you're doing yourself out there. You should have put about a penny on, because it will come to a million to 1 anyway. Or 10 million to 1, possibly. If you've gone for the match results, let me know the odds. Listen, there's no chance of getting all 10 results correct. Apex Sector, hey James, a bit early with a Sky question, but can I ask you which you would captain out of Bruno Antonio? We literally just covered. Leaning towards Antonio for today. Thanks and good luck on formats this weekend. To answer the question, Apex, it comes down to ownership. I don't want to... I could lose ground if Antonio does well, but my instinct is the majority of players will captain Bruno Fernandes today. So I'm going with that. Sharvind, I've answered that question already. Steve C. Hi James, surprised by your choice of Stones over Wan-Bissaka, considering you predicting a clean sheet for Man United. Are you expecting an attacking return for Stones? No, not at all. This is one where it's come down to accept that my prediction could be wrong. So I've predicted a clean sheet for Manchester United because I think that will be low scoring. And I've predicted a non-clean sheet for Manchester City because I think it will be quite high scoring. As I said on Patreon podcast yesterday, I've genuinely very nearly gone for 4-1 Man City. I'm really confident they'll win comfortably tomorrow. So it's understanding that the game situations that I envisage could be wrong. I mean, put it this way, right? I don't think Everton will score at Manchester United today, but I've still got Calvert-Lewin in my team. So it's an understanding of capability. Manchester City have conceded, 3 goals in like 12 game weeks or something mad. So and again, it's the ownership is the reason why I've picked the guys. That's also a reason for putting them in that order in the benching dilemma. But it's close. It's really close. Like, to be honest, explaining it the way I just explains it a bit mad, isn't it? Oh yeah, I think United will keep the clean sheet, but I don't think City will. But pick Stones over Wan-Bissaka. I'm explaining the reasoning for what my thought process would be. If I had Wan-Bissaka in my squad, I would pick him today ahead of Justin. But I wouldn't leave the City guys out in terms of the way I'm playing this game at the moment. But to be honest, those defensive calls this week are all so close. All of them. So many of them are close. Tom Bolton with, A-Man, DCL or Shaw. It's going to be DCL, isn't it, mate? Tom Bolton with Areola, John Stone and 1 free transfer. Does Pope make sense? What makes sense is rolling a transfer, mate. Dyra, bench Sterling or Salah? Sterling. Unless you've got City guys defensively and you want to go in on all-in strategy. Dervin, should I bench Salah for Stones? Salah has blanked 7 out of last 8 games. Juvin, have you put something in capital letters again? You're likely to just get muted in this channel, mate. My moderators are kind of, they're angry. No is the answer. Savanch should start Pope or Martinez. I think that one would be Pope, Savanch. Tom, I don't know what clairvoyant means, mate. Sat our shift. Hi James. Firmino ahead of Gundogan. Yeah, I mean, I would play Firmino. Yeah, he's got a good historical of scoring in the big games, hasn't he? Actually, I would go Firmino. Although I don't know why he's in your FPL team. Lionel Mazbey, who to start? Me, Stones, or Target? It's Stones for me. Hamad says Rafinha or Saka for Harvey. Free transfer. Well, I'd be targeting Rafinha now with the 25 announcement. Connor Norton, who would you replace Chilwell with? I would wait, but if I had to move now, it would be a Burnley player. Jacko, Zaha didn't look great in last couple of games. Watch it as an owner. I think they will do just well without him this time round. Eze to fill the void. Craig Edmonds says, good luck for the game week, mate. Free transfer used this week to bring Pope in when I should have waited. I have Laka stuck in my team. Will be Bamford eventually. Worth doing -4 now to bring in. No, I don't think so, mate. Rowan says, Jesus or Werner? Christ almighty. Have a 14-man FPL squad. Jesus, because of the fucking double next week. Wow. In terms of starting, I think I'd start Werner. Noyce Brennan, Diaz or Watkins? To start, I'd go Watkins. Martin Boyle, I had always wondered who did the voice for Optimus Prime. FPL Bix, can't decide between Watkins and Gundo. James, I'm pulling my hair out. Don't know that I'd pick the forward in 99 out of 100 occasions. Except for Patrick Bamford next week. It's probably going to have to be on my bench. Thanks FPL Cricketer. Silla says Aziz Av was, thanks to all the moderators by the way. I don't know what that means, Silla. I'm not very good at English, never mind French. Winglad, start Cho or Gundogan, mate. Cho being Callum Hudson-Odoi, I presume. Okay, Gundogan, I think. Stian Bosdale, good afternoon. Rudiger or Dean, with the fixtures now becoming more clear, I regret the transfer to Rudiger. Is he now a 1 week punt and move to me or Dallas? Listen, you keep it this week. Sheffield United, reassess next week, I think, my friend. JT Drake, Mahrez to Mount for a hit. Wow. No, mate. Road transfer. I think Mahrez will play tomorrow, personally. Joe Hardy, I have Ziyech in the draft format. Do I hold and hope for him or get rid now? You probably hold for the next two and see where you stand, I think, Joe. Lee Parry, morning, mate. Which two of DCL, Saka or Bamford? Tough call. Is this the start? If it's the start, it's bench Saka. Prey says, morning, James. What do you think about... Oh, my God, it's nearly deadline. 7 minutes. If you're still in asking questions, sorry, guys, I'm never going to get to you. Bloody hell, that would come round quick. Prey said, morning, James. What do you think about Robbo to Justin? Good idea or no? Have a great game week. My idea on that would be roll the transfer. I mean, Justin's got Liverpool next week. I'd rather have Robertson out the two if they're playing each other. This week looks a bit better, obviously, for Leicester. I think they both concede goals. Roll transfer, my friend. Chris Bradley, one of my moderators, saying, remember everyone, give the stream a like. Well said, Chris. Vihesh says, I'm benching DCL, Cancelo, Diaz in that order. Tell me I'm not crazy. You're not crazy. Johanna says, hello, James. Who would you bench from top captain picks? I got 7 from the list plus Maddison. Maddison then, isn't it? In the order that they are. I mean, Jesus. You need to find a different solution. I can't believe I got this far through the stream without saying that. Thanks, Tom Hyun. Joe Hardy, I have Ziyech in the draft format. Joe, mate, honestly, you asked that question more than once. You're just going to get muted in this chat, mate. As you can see, other people being muted. Thanks, Tom Hyun. Josh L, Robbo and Barnes to Rudiger and Antonio captain for free. Thoughts, guys, wildcard in 25. So it's, hang on. So it's Robbo to Rudiger, Barnes to Antonio. There you go. Is that Ashley Barnes? You got Ashley Barnes? I'm not sure I can answer. Are you saying Harvey Barnes to Antonio? I want to know how you're going to make that work. Are you doing that for free? I don't know how you're doing it. Magic. Akshay says, Cresswell, Dallas, Cancelo, defence and bench Robertson. How is it? Sounds like your decision. Connor Norton, who should have changed Chilwell for? Roll the transfer. Liam H, without fans in the stadium, do you think earlier kickoffs will have less potential to be high scoring? I feel like if the Spurs game was at 8 PM, I have no hesitation captaining Son. I wouldn't fucking worry about it, mate. Everyone with their big high horse last week after DCL blanked. Never captain a player in a 12:30, forgetting that DCL scored a hat-trick against West Brom in the 12:30 earlier in the season, which finished 5-2. Tottenham and Southampton was a 12 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday, finished 5-2. I just don't believe into those sort of things, mate. Sat says, hi James, Firmino or Gundogan? Played Firmino. I feel like I just did that. Izat says, hi James, who should I transfer out for Antonio? Definitely done that one already. Thanks Tom. Thanks Chris Bradley. Tom Seddon says, alright bud. Bit early for a bud. Not my choice of beer generally speaking. Vizwaz, should I start Alioski or Firmino? Firmino, in spite of the prediction for a Leeds clean sheet. Daniel Robert, is Nicolas Pepe slept on? To be honest, the way his mood is, quite a lot he could do with being slept on. Shiv Sablock, cheers mate. Lawrence Wong, play Lowton or Diaz? Given already playing Pope and Cancelo. Diaz. Sana, benching Salah and Robbo. Do I bench DCL or Dean? Christ. I mean, of all those players, I'd bench Luca Dean first. Neil's appeals pre-stacking up on Everton and Leeds for Watkins and Salah. Gonna bite me, I reckon. Rafinha and DCL in now. Good luck all. Bidder, we've done Mara's replacement. Roll a transfer. Dan and Jay, who should I play? Holding on target. Target because of Arsenal's possible goalkeeper situation. I think Matt Ryan is going to play. I make it, I will tell you to deadline, guys, I make it 3 minutes or so. About 3 minutes to deadline. Righto. Perlo's pen, can I have a spanner? You can, mate. I saw your message on Slack, but I didn't have time to set it up. But you are now, mate. And no, not anybody can have a spanner. Multi-level. Messier, Martinez. There's too many names in there. Sorry, pal. I can't be bothered. Josh Smith. Hi, mate. Love the stream. Great job on the graphics. What is the thinking behind double city defence? I have explained. I'm going to guess you've heard that, Josh. FPL Alex. Bench Watkins, Gundo or Soucek, please, James. Good luck this game week, bud. And good morning, people. What did I go for? Soucek or Gundogan? I think it's played Soucek, isn't it? So I'd be benching Gundogan in that case. Declan Cracknell, who'd start Rafinha, Gundogan or Calvert-Lewin? I would go Calvert-Lewin, then Rafinha, then Gundogan, as per the benching dilemmas. Fok Ozani asked the best question of all that I've had on the stream. It says, Cancelo question. Have a look at the description for the stream. Jonathan Ojai, I'm Captain Rudiger. Good for you. Alejandro, should I transfer in Rafinha or for Sterling? It's reasonable, but you get Sterling double game week next week, so it's not reasonable. Nah. Find a different solution, I think. Thank you, Jonathan Ojai. Darren Burns, morning, James. Who would you bench out of Stones or Souček? Already have Diaz starting. Cheers. Benching dilemma screen, my friend. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Chris. Declan Cracknell. Lauren Harris, great work from the Spanners. That's what we should call them, the Spanners. The Spanners are in. Andy M, Soufal, Cancelo, Stones, Dallas, Rudiger. Who free to play? I would personally be playing Cancelo, Stones and Rudiger, and then Dallas over Soufal on the bench. Not an easy one. I make it about a minute to deadline, guys. Get those teams locked in. Connection, morning, James, and Spanner Squad. You mentioned home form went out the window this season with away players doing better. Did you have a home captain preference? No, I'd stop thinking about it. It's more about game situation now, to be honest. Just get past it in terms of all these guys got a home game. As I mentioned earlier in the stream, just forget about it. Antonio's playing Fulham today. The where is irrelevant. The one and only Lee. How does Leeds game play out in your opinion? Early goal for Leeds. Palace have a little spell but don't do very well in it. Leeds get an early goal in the second half, finishes 2-0. Arsenal fan, bring Eze instead of Zaha. Nah. Leeds, Southampton. Look at them first. Everton even. Burnley. Tom Seddon, Major. Yeah, that's the Fulham player. Thanks, pal. Bossman525. When do you see Jose getting the sack? What a good question to ask me at 20 seconds to deadline. Fine. No more FPL questions. I'll skip the questions in the chat. Thank you very much for everyone who asked. Apologies to those that I didn't get to. Good luck for the game week. Lock your teams in. I make it about 5 seconds to deadline. Lock yourselves in. October or November, to answer your question, Bossman525. I am going to skip all the comments, guys. As said, apologies for those I didn't get to. I'm happy to hang around for 15 minutes or so. If anybody's got any non-FPL questions, feel free to ask them and I will get them covered. Well said, FPL cricketer. Rob Pick, if I ask you about Pereira today, will you talk about the right one? Fucking hell. Sorry, Rob. Let me add you as a fucking spanner as well, you prick. You are one hell of a spanner, to be fair. Sorry about yesterday. So Rob asked me on my Ask James stream yesterday about Ricardo Pereira. He said, is Ricardo Pereira a good option in FPL and Sky in the coming weeks, in your opinion? Sky obviously after overhaul, which is after this weekend. And I just started talking about Matheus Pereira. I don't know what was going through my mind. Ricardo Pereira, I think potentially yes for Sky. I think for FPL, the timing's just not right, is it? The timing's not right. He could be a very good one, oddly enough, I think, come game week 27, if Leicester lose to Brighton in the Cup, looking that far ahead. I just think he's not a priority one for FPL. For Sky, we give it some thought. I know he come back in the week, was instantly hitting tackle tier again. We know his capability. So possible for Sky, FPL for no. The only thing I'd say is, I'm not sure if you can justify really the money for Pereira over Justin in Sky, as it stands. I guess with Sky, you don't want to be wasting that transfer. So with Castagna as well, you probably just kind of maybe thinking avoid. Could they go to 3 at the back though now, maybe with Justin right-sided centre-half, particularly with Fofana's injury? Lots to ponder, mate. And I will be over the next 4 or 5 days. FPL, not yet, my friend. I don't think so. Benny Blanco says, hi James, Sky question. Who do you fancy for captaincy tomorrow? After the Silva disaster, I only have City cover, Gundo, Stones and Diaz and Salah as options. I mean, I'd go Diaz out of them, I think, Benny. There's a good chance the City guys won't hit passing tier tomorrow, but I think I'd still go that way. For them to hit passing tier, you probably need them to not be winning, I would say. If they go 1-0 up early, there's a good chance they won't hit passing tier tomorrow. To be honest, on my prediction of 3-1, that would lead you to think possibly Gundogan. But do you see Gundogan really going big in this game? Not particularly. So I would still go Diaz, I think, for myself, mate. And I think with that in mind, I think there's a good chance Laporte plays left back again tomorrow. So then you've got Diaz at the free. So if they do keep the ball across the defensive line with Cancelo pushing on, I did think originally that Walker would play tomorrow, but I'm beginning to change my mind. I think Laporte will play left back and Walker won't play. Then Diaz is going to be in between Laporte and Stones. He should see a lot of it. Rudy says to play or not to play Souček. Well, unfortunately, Rudy, the deadline's gone, mate. Josh Riddle, most interesting stadium you've been to or want to go to? Most interesting stadium, okay. I mean, the one I want to go to is La Bombonera, Boca Juniors. I can't see that ever happening. I can't even get the fucking Tottenham, can I? The best stadium I've ever been to is White Hart Lane, and then the next one's the new White Hart Lane. Worldwide Bernabeu for me is the best one. It's fucking like that. It just fucking drops down. It's brilliant. It creates an unbelievable atmosphere as well. And it'll be even more so once they do that roof as well. It's surprising how loud it gets in the Bernabeu. You expect it to be quite... I mean, admittedly, I was there for a Champions League quarter-final, but you expect them to be kind of happy clappers and stuff. And they were quite loud. Most interesting stadium I've been to. I'm trying to think, where have I been and fucking laughed, mate? Oh, Luton. Luton Town. When you go in the away end at Luton and it's like going in someone's back garden. You literally look over people's back gardens to get into the away end. That's a very interesting sight. So Luton Town, who are moving to a new stadium in the next couple of years, actually. Maneuver says 2 non-FPL questions. After your incredible Optimus Prime impression, what else do you have in your locker? We know I have the impression of my wife. That's been done many times over. Other impressions. I'm not brilliant at them. I'll tell you the one I really can't do is Welsh. I really struggle with a Welsh accent. Others I'm not too bad at, although I think that's self-opinionated. It's like people go on the X Factor who think they can sing. I'm not sure that I am very good, really. Perlo's Pen. James, who are you looking at for captaincy in game weeks 24 and 25? Okay. So 25 I think is an easier call. It'll probably be Patrick Bamford for me. Good chance it might be Danny Ings. And I wouldn't rule out Bruno. Honestly, I wouldn't rule him out at the moment. That may come down to what I see stylistically from Newcastle in the next 2 game weeks, rather than what I see from Manchester United. Because as I said on the podcast on Thursday, I think Newcastle's games could be quite high scoring in the coming weeks. Hence the 2-2 prediction today for the Newcastle game. 24 is a tougher call. It'll probably be between Diaz and Gundogan for me, I imagine. I can't see me not going with a Man City player, even in spite of Bruno having West Brom and Antonio having Sheffield United. I can't see me not going for a Man City player. So I think it'd be Diaz or Gundogan, personally, and I'll make that decision a little bit nearer the time. I suspect it'll be Diaz. If Harry Kane's not back fit, almost definitely Diaz. Martin Ball, how's the overhaul planning going, mate? Martin, to be very honest with you, I've done none. But then a part of that thinking is I don't think I'm going to be changing a lot from what I currently have anyway. So I don't need to do overthinking. I won't even begin to think about it genuinely till after the FA Cup games on Tuesday night. And even then, that's only because I'm going to have a Sky podcast out on Wednesday. Otherwise, I would wait longer. And in terms of what my actual team will be, Thursday night, I'm pretty sure I'll know what it will be after the Barnsley-Chelsea game. And then we've got a pod for patrons on Friday, and I'll tell all the patrons what my intention is. So I'm very relaxed about it. You can overthink these things, and there are information that we can learn the next week that could really, really change our thinking. So very relaxed about it. My intention is to go quite heavy on Manchester City as it stands. The rearrangement of fixtures makes me a lot more keen on people like Vestergaard and Danny Ings, but I've not looked at working either of those two players into my system at the moment. I suspect I will start with at least one of them. Jordan Wood, you should call the stream Spanners versus Spammers. The Spanners versus Spammers stream. I quite like that. Maneuver, and if you had to pick a game between two Premier League teams to watch, excluding Tottenham, I know I'd exclude them anyway. For best entertainment, who should it be between? Game week 26, Leeds versus Aston Villa. Sign me up. Dan McLaughlin, favourite sandwich filling? Sausage. Oh, Chris Bradley, what a question. Favourite Atomic Kitten song? What a question. That's why you've got a spanner, mate. What was the one they did the take of the Bangles? Am I Only Dreaming? Eternal Flame. I couldn't think of what it was called. Eternal Flame. Is this burning? Sorry, guys. That'll kill the viewers and the likes, won't it? Grey Reza. I've got the fucking tide is high in my head now. What's the state? Non-FPL. Do you ever switch off from fantasy sports, and do you ever feel like you need to? Good question. I'm so pleased that we've got to this point, because this is now a break for me. So for my advanced tier patrons who are in the stream, I can do more for you now. Which is really, really pleasing, because I want to improve the content that I provide to them, and I want to start doing some more videos for them and stuff like that. And now is no midweek Premier League games. I can do that. When I say no Premier League games, at least it's one deadline a week. I can do far more work now, which I can. A lot of the patrons are probably going, "Are you sure, James?" Yeah, I can. Trust me. So for me now, this is. It almost feels like getting to New Year's Day, this point for me a little bit. We got through the year, because this period from December through to now has been a battering in terms of majority of weeks have had 2 game week deadlines and stuff like that, so it's been quite punishing. In terms of a break from fantasy sports, in terms of break from my thinking for my own team, I'm probably more switched off from it now than I ever was, because a lot of what I do is focused on providing the content and making sure that's right. And then once I look into the content, that normally kind of formulates my ideas for what I want to do anyway, in terms of my own team. So I don't go to bed thinking about fucking -4s and shit. I really don't. But in terms of the content, this is now a break in terms of, okay, it's a week to be able to think about game week 24, for example, now. So that's really good. In terms of switching off, I took a week off in August, and the guys know, like, I genuinely did not even go on Twitter or anything for a week. And I will need that again in the summer at some point, but that's it. This is my job now, pal. Kelly Feakston, my first year doing FFPL. Love your podcast. I knew nothing about football until this year. Totally hooked now. Kelly, welcome to the community. Lewis C, are you Mourinho out? Look at this face. Connect Sun, has Pep got bored, reinvented football with the in-game position of Cancelo and Stones doing the right back job? No, it's tactical. Believe it or not, it's not that different from what Tottenham did with Aurier last year. How ridiculous. Just Mourinho's way of doing it was just run down the line, whereas Cancelo comes and plays into midfield. Gavin Gold, do you reckon next week time transfer Robertson? If so, who for FPL question? Sorry, Gavin, I don't understand the question, and having just done over an hour on FPL questions, I'm afraid, with the best respect, I really can't be bothered. Josh Smith, are you watching the Super Bowl, and if so, who you're rooting for? Josh, I couldn't even tell you was in it. I watched a Super Bowl one year, a couple of years back, for 55 minutes, and I saw 6 or 7 minutes of play. The fuck is that? I mean, how many hot dogs do you need? Lamici, thoughts on Chelsea's performance versus Spurs? Average. Genuinely, I don't think Chelsea were great at all. But Tottenham were about 10 levels worse than that. But I don't think, to be fair to Chelsea, I don't think they had to do a lot in the game. There's another game for them to play tomorrow, 3-day break and stuff. I don't blame them. The game was as easy as Tottenham let it be for them, so a difficult one to assess. I don't think we've learnt a lot about Chelsea yet. Graf Filkoff, your second or third favourite sport? Do we consider this a sport? As in fantasy sports? Do we? I guess people say fantasy sports, don't they? Do we? I guess we'll get to the point where people consider it a sport, like esports, for example. Do you consider poker a sport? Because if so, then I'd put that in there. And I guess pool or snooker into, but the fuck, man, the amount of football at the moment. This is another good reason for the break. It's more than not having to watch so much football. So I'll tell you now, honestly, FA Cup this midweek, the chance that I'll watch one game, and that'll be the Tottenham game. I probably won't watch any of the other games just to switch off a bit. I might, for example, watch Man United and take Man United and West Ham and watch it while I'm falling asleep or something. But I'll need to know the score in advance for the Sky podcast the next day. I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered and no interest in that. I need a break. So, the time for other sports, none. Really. Just not there. Shifo says, Spurs question. I'm a Jose fan, to be honest, and I think you could pull a 2001 Ulier Cup treble. That would change your thoughts on Jose and make the season Spurs ever in recent history, wouldn't it? I'd still want to sack the prick. Tom Bolton, how many points do you think City will win the league by? 8, 9? Ivo says, do you watch Test cricket? England v India is good. Yeah, I also like Slate, mate. Lee Jackson, have you managed to peer pressure Suj to bring in Lingard yet? I'm all up in his DMs trying, do it for the publicity, thought he was a businessman. He is. He probably should, but he's one of them. You know what Suj is like. He says things in a moment he gets really excited about, and then, yeah. Listen, I asked him a fair question. Would you buy a Souček or Lingard now if you had neither? And he said Souček. I don't particularly disbelieve him. He's not going to make that change, is he? Jordan Harris, have you ever been on an away day to Stoke City, and what were your thoughts? Always remember our first Premier League game against Spurs when Bale got sent off, as did Michael Dawson, for a terrible tackle. We'd lost our heads completely. That was the 8th game, 2 points from 8. That was game 8. I remember telling this girl I was dating at the time, I said, yeah, love, the next 6 months is going to be fucking horrible. If you want to break up on that basis alone, go for it. It did get a bit better for Spurs anyway. Yes, I've been to Stoke twice. Yeah, twice, I think. I was there when Bale scored the ridiculous goal when his leg was like in line with his shoulder, that volley into the top corner. And I went the last game before Stoke went down when Harry Kane scored but didn't score. Because really it was Eriksen twice, because I was right in line with Kane behind the goal. Quite far back, but kind of in his eye of line, just right of goal. He didn't touch that shit. I'd tell from the way he reacted when the ball hit the net that he didn't touch it. Ivo says, I'm a neutral fan but want a team support. Which team out of Leicester, Spurs, West Ham, Arsenal, Chelsea, Aston Villa should I support? Ivo, support the team from wherever you're from. First thing, if you're from England, and I'm not saying you're not, but pick someone local, mate. Whoever's most local to you. If you're in England, so if you live in Macclesfield and your local team's Macclesfield, support Macclesfield. Adam Elvin, don't, for your sanity, don't support Spurs for fuck's sake. Adam Elvin, plus I got enough annoying Spurs fans. Adam Elvin, what do you think of Troy Parrott? My crap team have just brought him in on loan. Hope we don't ruin him. Adam's crap team is Ipswich, who are in a bad run. I spoke about him, I think, on my Ask James stream yesterday, to be honest, Adam. So you might want to have a listen back to that. But I think it sounds like it's a good move for him. Was wasting time at Millwall for a number of reasons, unfortunately. Lauren Harris says, James, you know how much I love food. I lived in Winchmore Hill for 6 months. Oh, wow, did you? That's like down the road from me, mate. The best thing about your area is the Krispy Kreme store. Am I right? Yeah, but these days you just get Krispy Kremes from the supermarket, can't you? There is a Krispy Kreme store, yes. I wouldn't say it's walking distance. That's a fucking walk. Although I have done that sort of walk drunk before. It's probably about a 45-minute walk. But it's like, depending on, I suppose with traffic, it's probably 10 to 15 minutes in the car this time of day. Actually, not during lockdown. But on a normal Saturday, it probably would take 10, 15 minutes to get there. If you did it at midnight, it's like 5 minutes, no problem. But no, it's not the best thing. In my area. No. What's the best thing in my area? Enfield Town train station, because it's fucking easy access to Tottenham. I do like a Krispy Kreme though. I mean, you can probably tell, right? Zoe Burns went for Bamford captain, hoping for a big haul. Ivo says bananas, thank you, Ivo. Gaming, nah. I need to get something off my chest and confess. James Justin make me cry every night. Dara's got Captain Cresswell praise. Who's been the most exciting team to watch for you so far this season? Most exciting is probably Leeds because of the car crash, but I want to put Villa in that list as well. Mary says, who's your all-time favourite Spurs player? Gaza here. All-time favourite is Ledley King. Suba says, bye man. Bye man. David Jones, you watching the West Ham game or the rugby? What do you think, David? Isan, what league do you like the most besides English Premier League? La Liga. I used to watch a lot of when it was on Sky, but I ain't paying for that shit now and I ain't got the time now. Suba, you just said bye man. Tell me about the Burnley performance. Will Tarkovsky come through? I'm going to say no this week, but yes, over the next couple of weeks. It also says his favourite player is Berbatov. Love Berber. Ivo says shout out to Kit McGrandle. Okay. Gaming, your laugh is contagious. Don't want to do it now. Yogesh says, what do you make of the Liverpool Man City dull draw of fireworks? I think City could rip them apart. As I put it on our Patreon podcast yesterday, Liverpool will be much stronger this week. Alisson will be back. There's a good chance Mane will be back. They can probably play Kabak at centre half. Means Henderson going midfield. Mane will probably be back. They'll probably be 4-3-3 and nearly full strength. And I think City will beat them easy. Theodore, FPL has made me understand what real hate is. I absolutely despise James Justin. Nabil Chowdhury going with Son as my captain. And Chris Bradley says, what 3 teams do you want to come up from the Championship that have a realistic chance? I would like Brentford to come up. Although, as I kind of said last summer, if someone can find me a Brentford correspondent, let me know. Fucking hell. Norwich, I'd like to come up. I mean, Oliver Skip's there on loan at the moment, so it's a very good reason for them to want to come up. So Oliver Skip and Norwich to come up. Enjoyed my away day at Swansea a few years ago, probably because it went very well. And we've got a few Swans boy, but we've got a few Reading patrons as well. Probably Reading, that's down the road, isn't it? So I'd say Reading, Norwich, Brentford. There you go. Gav P, what's your thoughts on Sanchez, a backup keeper? My thoughts are, don't even think about FPL till Thursday night, mate. Shifo says, would you take Arsenal finishing above you if Jose got sacked? No. Not that it particularly matters. I mean, you know, if Tottenham finished 7th and Arsenal finished 8th, I ain't fucking open top bus like last season, like some pricks on Twitter were, yeah, finished above you again. Who gives a fuck? I'd rather Tottenham finish 4th and Arsenal finish 3rd than Tottenham finish 7th and Arsenal finish 8th. Let me put it to you like that. Martin Boyle, do you think we'll get a more sensible use of VAR next season? No. Give the benefit of the doubt to the attacking side. Some of the divisions this season have been embarrassing. No, I don't particularly. Maris says Prime Lineker, Klins or Kane. Kane. Alexander says reason for not buying Pope, rolling the transfer, and I think that there's a lot for me to gain to waiting. Yes, Pope is likely to outscore my 2 other keepers this game week. But I think a more informed decision next week's more important, because it might be that I don't buy a goalkeeper at all. Is a possibility. Alexander, that's the question we've just done. Rowan S. James, what's your opinion on Michael Elise at Reading? Seems like a good player. He does. I'll be very honest, I've not seen too much Championship football. He's in my Championship fantasy team, so I have been keeping an eye on him. He's doing very well. It's a very cheap price in that game as well. I know there's a few Premier League clubs, I think Arsenal have been mentioned, with potentially signing him. It's one definitely to keep an eye on. And Chungnam Tam says John Stones or Cancelo. Chungnam, deadline was about 23 minutes ago, mate. We'll leave it there, guys. Thanks very much for the questions. Apologies for those who I didn't cover. If you want to support the content of Planet FPL, you can find links to Planet FPL's Patreon in the bio. And I think FPL Captain added it to the graphic where the fixture ticker is as well. Thanks, FPL Captain. 21 additional podcasts this month at intermediate tier. And my promise to the advanced tiers is now there's a bit of a break in the schedule. More shit is coming for you, most probably in video content form. Content this week. 2 Clash of the Correspondents for you. Gemma Baggies is my cap playing. West Bromwich Albion versus Manchester United. That'll be out for you on Monday. Rotation FPL. FPL Footballer. Previewing Chelsea versus Newcastle. Thursday. Tuesday. Main podcast with Surge. Reviewing all the Game Week 23 action. Wednesday. Featured podcast on Sky Podcast. Likely to be longer than usual as we prepare for overhaul. Friday. No Ask James stream on Friday. Special podcast, me and Serge, just consider it a normal formal podcast. Once we've got all the information of the FA Cup results, we will begin to map out what we think Game Week 26 will look like, where other fixtures may slot, and how that's going to affect our chip strategy going forward. And obviously, of course, potentially our transfers for Game Week 24 as well. Patrons, this week, banging. Q&A, Monday. Tottenham, Tuesday. Wednesday, Ask James exclusive for yourselves. Thursday, what are we doing Thursday? Thursday differential show, going to be a day earlier this week, so we'll do that on Thursday. We'll have half the picture of the game week then, and then we're going to have Sky extra time for you on Friday, once the day before the overhaul, to do that as late as possible to give you update Sky thoughts from Wednesday's podcast. We will likely reveal our Sky overhaul teams on that podcast as well. Thanks very much, everyone. Give the video a like on your way out. Be much appreciated. Subscribe, hit that. For all those who've been liking, supporting, subscribing, retweeting tweets and all that stuff. Thanks as ever for all your support. Very good luck for the game week. Next deadline stream, I guess, will be this time next week, 10 o'clock, next Saturday. Have a good weekend, everyone. Ciao for now.